Right, okay.
Sorry. Right. Eddie just hit the point because the elections are coming up, and there's a few bits that sprung to mind, i.e. a few memories. And basically it started off with a letter that Andy sent to Theresa May. I've not got that letter with me, but we had a reply which I would like to read out. And basically the letter concerned about what the Muslims are getting up to in this country, how this country isn't our own anymore, and you know, the usual things that we all know about. So the reply came in 2011, it's that long ago, and it says, "Thank you for your letter to the Home Secretary Theresa May, which has been passed to the Department for Communities and Local Government for a reply. You express serious concerns about Muslim communities, and I'm glad that you have brought these to our attention." Andy was talking about the no-go areas, and people are being stopped in London to go past mosques being dressed a certain way or having a can of drink in their hands, etc. In the UK, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. For Muslims, as with other faiths, religion can be an integral part of self-identity, but it is important that each of us considers our responsibilities as well as our rights. Mutual concern and respect to our fellow citizens is essential if we want our neighbourhoods to be places where everyone can play their part and feel that they belong. The government is committed to making Britain a more integrated society where we celebrate what we have in common, where people are not held back by social barriers or discrimination and intolerance, and where everyone plays their part. We are therefore working to strengthen our approach to integration and cohesion, including how we can best tackle all forms of extremism, hatred and intolerance. Right. So we were looking around for a little bit, and I particularly want to draw your attention to the approach of integration and the tolerance business as well, how we should be tolerant of everything else. Now, David Cameron had a speech, and he said in 2009, right, he says, there is nothing British about the BNP. Now, where that comes from, I have absolutely no idea. He says, we need more Muslims to compete at sports, to be an example for the rest of the community. It's not enough for a party like the Conservative Party to say, come on in, if all you see is a sea of white faces, Christian faces. We need many more Muslim men and women at the top of British businesses, many more Muslim soldiers at the highest level of command, and of course, more Muslims in our parliament, Muslims all across Parliament in positions of leadership and authority. And that was David Cameron at the Forum Muslim Eid Party on the 1st of September 2009. Right? Now, I'm asking the people, should this go out on the YouTube, you want to seriously consider who you are voting for at this next election. Do you actually want somebody like that in Parliament, where you, the English indigenous people, are now being classed basically as second-class citizens? So he said on the 1st of December 2009, and that was the Conservative Muslim Forum Eid Party. That was the same as it's not enough, we need, it's not enough, as I've said many times, for a party like the Conservatives to open the door and say, come on in, and all that. So the truth is that if we are going to build that strong, vibrant and inclusive society, we need many more Muslim men and women at the top of British businesses and all that. So on 22nd of October 2013, right, now this is 2 years after we have written this letter, he actually invited various Islamic worthies to celebrate the festival of Eid with him at Downing Street. And during this event, he said this: "We want to say what a fantastic contribution Muslims make to our country. Of course, we want to celebrate everything." Listen to this. Of course, we want to celebrate everything that the Muslim community here in Britain is and does. Bear that in mind. An event like this helps us to make sure we're doing everything we can as a country to be as welcoming as possible to people of different faiths and different religions. And obviously, we have still great challenges in Britain to make sure we are as open and welcoming and as friendly as we can be. We still have a huge battle fighting prejudice in our country, and I think perhaps particularly Islamophobia, people telling lies about your religion, is one that we have to face up to particularly strongly in our country. Welcoming people to our country of all faiths is something that has to go across every single way of life. Of course, one of the things I'm very keen that we do with the World Islamic Economic Forum coming up in just a few days' time is I want Britain to be one of the world centres of Islamic finance. After we've celebrated the immense contribution of the Muslim community to Britain, after we have celebrated what faith brings to our country, after we've thought about what more we can do to make people welcome in our own country, it is also think as a country what we do to help others overseas. And in that context, I'm proud of the fact, even in spite of difficult economic times, this country is one of a few countries in the world that keeps its promises of aid and development, meaning that 0.7% target of our gross national income. Now, a lot of that money goes to some of the most challenged Islamic countries in our world. Countries like Afghanistan, countries like Pakistan, countries like Somalia. So, a very warm welcome to number 10. Tonight is about celebrating the contribution that British Muslims make to our country. It is a huge contribution. It is one I'm happy to celebrate here. I have huge respect of everything you do. There we go. There we go. Now, this huge respect, may I draw to your attention the story of Charlene Downs. So he's actually having huge respect that Charlene Downs was enticed, as many other girls, in almost every single kebab shop in this country, being seduced, being spiced with drinks and everything else. But in Charlene Downs' case and another girl's case, she was actually allegedly cut up and she was put into the kebabs and fed to Joe Public as they came for their supper at night after being in the pub. So we, our lot, were actually forced to be cannibals without knowing it. Yep. that is wrong. So, Mr. Cameron, you are actually proud of that fact. Well, and you guys out there are actually voting for someone like that. I don't believe it. Where's your respect for your country? Even the police are saying now there is no-go areas in this country, in certain towns. They can't go in. And they know the crimes that are happening, as with female mutilation. Incidentally, I cut off here because it's just been a while ago discovered that female mutilation happened about 300 BC. It has absolutely nothing at all to do with any religion whatsoever, because Islam and Christianity came after that. So therefore, the Muslims have decided we are adopting this because we can keep people we can keep our women under control. And Mr. Cameron, you actually agree with the fact that these girls as young as 3 to 5 years old, or maybe a bit older sometimes, actually have their clitoris cut out with no anesthetic. I'd like to somebody volunteer for a bloke to have the top of his private member cut off without anesthetic and see if they like it. Yes? And you have respect for that. And you guys out there are having the audacity to vote for somebody like that who comes in. Well, again, where is the respect for this country? We should have more of that. Anyway, the police actually say that they know all this stuff is going on, female mutilation and women are beaten up and killed and all this nonsense that is going on. But because Sharia law operates in these areas, nobody will pick up the phone and report a crime. So therefore the police can't do anything about it because no crime has been reported. So at the end of the day, they're running 2 laws in this country, one for them and one for us. That is wrong. If we wanted to go and live in Saudi Arabia, we would have to have at least £50,000 collateral behind us. We would not be entitled to their national health system or whatever exists over there. We would have to prove that we got a job. We would have to prove that we speak their language, and we would have to obey their law. Certainly we are not allowed to go over there and start building our own churches. So why here? What is the difference? Why is this government from years ago not putting their foot down like President Putin and said, enough is enough? And I thought, I'll never say this, but I have real big respect for President Putin because he is taking no nonsense, and I respect that. Also, what has happened recently, as you're well aware on the news, the Muslim Brotherhood has been outlawed in Saudi Arabia. Fantastic news. It's now classed as a terrorist organization. Guess what? Guess where they are running the headquarters.
London.
Over a kebab shop of all places. And Mr. Cameron is there welcoming Morsi with open arms and a hefty handshake. Welcome to this country. Well, I'm sorry, if we don't do something, then this country within 15 years will be at the docks. Definitely. We will not have a leg to stand on. We will be suffering torture and everything else that is going on. I mean, just look at what's happening in Syria, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and everything. And even in Afghanistan, they're saying the first thing they do when they get into a village is they close the school down and take all the girls out of school because girls belong into the kitchen behind the kitchen sink. Rubbish. What have our forefathers in this country fought for? they would be turning in their grave. And I say it again, we need to vote, we need to go to elections and cast our vote. It's imperative that we do so, because that's the only way we are going to win anything in this country. And as many people as we have, as members of the BNP, we need to stand as candidate. We need to fill those empty holes. We need to show them, listen, we have not died out, like they said to us once. When I first started standing as a local candidate in Bolton, it was the Councillor Qureshi that got done speeding through town. And it was a big article about it in the Bolton News, which is our local newspaper and stuff. And right at the bottom of this article, absolutely no relevance whatsoever, was the sentence. It took us a long time, but we finally got rid of the BNP. What has that got to do with speeding, I ask? You know, and that riled me, and that's why I'm saying we need to stand. At the end of the day, and I've said this before when I spoke before, these guys, they look at this country and the people, the indigenous people, and politicians, and they're calling them gullible. We are gullible people, not us lot, but them out there are. And I don't know why we are letting them get away with it. I really don't. And we, as the British people, have to stand up and be counted for, and we have to defend our country, because there is schools now that haven't got any white children in that school. There's like schools here, and they're speaking something like 26 different languages in one school. I'm sorry, no. But also what you got to consider is, for every one child we produce as our offspring, they are producing 9. So that speaks for itself. And it's only going to be a matter of a short time that it's going to be finito. How would you like your grandchildren growing up? Because that is the generation where it's going to start and after. How would you like them to grow up? Would you like them to grow up like we did? Or would you like them to grow up into the Muslim way? Because it is going to happen. Definitely. Now then, on the other part, this peaceful religion, for instance, it's been on the net only the other day. A Muslim convert, now this is a white person in America that converted to being a Muslim, silly boy. He stabbed his wife more than 30 times in the neck because he objected to her behavior within the Muslim community. So that's the peaceful religion, and that is what Mr. Cameron so hugely respects. Right? A 9-year-old Hindu girl, now I know this wasn't in England and it's over there, she was gang raped by about 9 or 10 men, and they actually cut round her head, and that is shown on the internet, on the photo of it and that. Is that fair? You know, it's not. And this is what, I mean, we are white people, so basically we are going to be, we eat pork, don't we? So we are the dirtiest people alive. We are even below the Hindus, and the Muslims hate the Hindus and all them. You see, we are underneath that. So I'd like you to dare imagine what will happen to our race, our people.
Absolutely.
Yes? Now then, it's dangerous. An Irishman just converted to Islam,
Quite a few.
right?
Not you, is it?
Right, listen, this is disgusting. Beheaded his mother and chopped her up because some while ago because he converted, he got offended because a while ago she actually left her husband to be with somebody else. And because this guy converted as a Muslim, it was not respectable, so he beheaded his own mother. That's disgusting. A priest was stabbed with the words Christian scum in Thornby. That's with a TH, not an F, by the way. And on a note. And over the last 5 years, about 200 priests and vicars have been attacked by haters of God. Right? One was bitten in the hand, some were beaten with sticks. You just name it, it's happening. And then this Mr. Farage, he came out with a cracker the other day. Women who have children are worthless. Now, are you actually gonna vote UKIP for something like that? I'm sorry. I'm a mum and I'm not worthless. I brought 2 decent children in this world who have never ever been in trouble with the police and they can stand on their own 2 legs. And we are not worthless as mothers. We take that back. And then, of course, we've got all the gang rapes that have been reported and the gangs that have been in court recently last year and all that, and they got sentenced and all this lot, you know, and there was like only per case, something like 9 men and all this lot. And they had their amount of girls and they dished them out over to 100 men. You know, I mean, come on, this is disgusting. And you are so proud of that, Mr. Cameron. I don't believe it. What happens if you had a daughter and that happened to your daughter? You wouldn't be sat like that. Definitely not. Oh, and then that one that Lynn brought to light on BNP TV. And that was over 7,000 Muslims walked through the street of Bolton to celebrate Muhammad's birthday. Now, that didn't just happen in Bolton, actually, because that happened in various towns scattered through the whole country. And the pictures that were took, from beginning to the end of the horizon, you couldn't see any streets. It was just heads. There's loads. And it's unbelievable. And yet, when we have a little march or want to protest against something peacefully, the police are coming down on us like a ton of bricks and we are not allowed to say boo. So we have freedom of thought, maybe, but we certainly don't have freedom of speech anymore. And that is not what England is all about at all. Apart from the Charlene Downs thing, we also need to review on if we ever wanted to eat a kebab. Would you like to go into a shop and you find all of a sudden you've been in there time and time again and the shop has actually been closed down because of a serious mouse infestation, and also they had the health officers come in before, and it was the worst standard they've ever seen. So they went away and told the guys, listen, you get this right. And this was the second inspection, and even the wrapping paper had mouse droppings on it. And they decided to close the shop down, and the owner, obviously of foreign name, has been asked, like, get this right, and only the courts will decide if he ever opens again, and stuff like that. So how many more shops are there like that? You know, would you go into one of those, I ask, you know? But at the same token, right, I feel that some of our people, of the British people, the indigenous people, are getting starved out because we are facing huge energy bills now. The people who are unfortunate enough to be either disabled or unemployed legitimately, they are actually having benefit cuts. They're talking about benefit cuts and housing costs to be cut for the under 25-year-olds. Well, how the hell are they supposed to be like setting up in life and moving forward and getting themselves sorted out so that they become individual adults who can stand in the world on their own 2 feet? And they need a little bit help to start off with. And I know there is some that might take advantage, but they can be taken to task, but not the legitimate people, and it's been taken out on everybody. We have the so-called bedroom tax, which is barbaric, and we have ATOS as well, who are not even discriminating. In fact, ATOS has been on the internet as well. I don't know if some of you have it or seen it. There is a woman. She had a mental condition, a serious one, and she's definitely not been able to work over 20 years. Her benefits were cut and she was declared fit for work, of which, because of the stress probably, she suffered a heart attack and she is in a coma. She is in a coma in hospital, and she recently had a letter from the department to say, why are you not in work? You know, I mean, come on, it's pathetic. You know, it's not right. Where is our right? We have rights in this country, the same as everybody else. And where is your integration? You know, where are we supposed to mingle together? Mr. Cameron and the Labour Party and Mr. Farage, if you treat the people who elect you like that, of course they will go against you, they will go against Islamic people, they will go against everybody, because you guys are against us, and that's not right. So therefore, I'm asking the people who can vote, if you can't vote, get yourself a postal vote and vote that way. You don't even have to leave the house. But for heaven's sake, vote, and vote for the right party, because the right party is the British National Party, who are not violent. We are not violent, we are not thugs, never have been. Every legal case about the British National Party that has gone to court, the cases were won by the British National Party. And yet they're still trying to trample us out. And the reason they're trampling us out is because we are telling the truth. And we, as the British National Party, want to be there for the British people who are now happening to be the underdog. And we are not the underdog. I'll leave it with that.
Is she right? She's absolutely right. Let's hear it again for Bob. And I must mention, Bryn, it's great to see you there, my friend. And if anybody, has everybody seen Bryn's video they did with BNP TV? Yeah, because if you haven't, watch it, because it's a bit shocking, and I think you're probably a bit shocked with the way you were treated on the day. You don't expect that from your own people, do you? Well, yeah,